9 signs that someone dislikes you and is hiding it. If you've ever had a gut feeling that someone doesn't like you, but you can't quite put your finger on why, you may be picking up on subtle social cues. These signals can be challenging to interpret, particularly when the other person is trying to hide their true feelings. Below are 9 signs that someone may not like you, even if they are trying to keep it under wraps. Especially noteworthy is the 9th sign. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. Avoiding eye contact. Eye contact is a powerful form of communication that transcends words. It's one of the first ways we learn to connect with others from the time we're infants, and its importance remains significant throughout our lives. As we age, the nuances of eye contact often become even more pronounced. It is through a steady gaze that we express trust, openness, and understanding. A lack of eye contact, on the other hand, can create feelings of distance, discomfort, or even rejection, especially when it happens in one-on-one conversations where connection is expected. When someone dislikes you but doesn't want to openly admit it, avoiding eye contact can be a subconscious way for them to distance themselves emotionally. In situations where they feel obligated to interact with you, they might avert their gaze as a means of minimizing the personal connection. Instead of looking directly into your eyes, they might fixate on something else in the room, like a clock, a window, or their phone. Anything to avoid the discomfort of engaging too closely. At its core, sustained eye contact represents vulnerability and mutual acknowledgement. It says, "I see you, and I'm engaged with you in this moment." When that's absent, it can feel as though the person is shutting you out, whether intentionally or not. You may sense a subtle disconnection, as though the person isn't fully present with you, even though they are physically near. This behavior can be especially disheartening in relationships that once thrived on close interaction. Perhaps in the past, you and this individual enjoyed lively conversations with plenty of shared glances and facial expressions that showed understanding and empathy. But now, things feel different. You might find yourself having to work harder to gain their attention, only to be met with brief glances or fleeting looks that feel dismissive. This lack of engagement can make you question the depth of the relationship and whether something has changed on a deeper level. Eye contact is also a critical tool for reading emotions. When someone avoids meeting your gaze, it deprives you of the opportunity to gauge how they are truly feeling. Are they angry, frustrated, or indifferent? Without that nonverbal exchange, it can be difficult to know. In many cases, the person avoiding eye contact might be consciously or unconsciously trying to hide their true feelings, knowing that their eyes could give them away if they allowed the connection. For older adults, especially those who value meaningful face-to-face communication, the absence of eye contact can feel particularly alienating. By the time we reach our 60s and beyond, many of us have come to rely on deep personal exchanges as a way to foster closeness and maintain strong relationships. When eye contact is lacking, it creates a gap that words alone cannot fill. It's not just about what is said, but about the connection that eye contact symbolizes. Without it, conversations can feel flat, lacking the emotional resonance that usually makes our interactions rich and fulfilling. In group settings, the avoidance of eye contact can be even more telling. You might notice that the person who dislikes you looks freely at others, engaging in lively discussions and making frequent eye contact. But when it comes to you, they shift their focus elsewhere. This contrast can be difficult to ignore, as it highlights their selective engagement. Even if they speak with you, the lack of eye contact can leave you feeling as though they're not really interested in the conversation, or worse, that they are simply going through the motions out of politeness or social obligation. It's also important to note that avoiding eye contact doesn't always indicate dislike. In every context, there are other reasons why someone might not meet your gaze. Shyness, anxiety, or cultural differences all play a role in how people use eye contact in communication. However, when avoidance of eye contact becomes a consistent pattern, especially in someone who used to engage more openly, it's worth considering whether there might be underlying feelings of discomfort or negativity that they are not expressing verbally. When combined with other subtle signs, such as lack of engagement in conversation or minimal physical interaction, avoiding eye contact can provide a clearer picture of how someone truly feels about you. Recognizing these signs can help you better navigate your relationships, allowing you to either address the issue directly or adjust your expectations accordingly. In the end, eye contact is a basic yet profoundly important aspect of human connection, and its absence can speak volumes for those of us in our later years, where time spent with others becomes more precious. Understanding these subtle cues can make all the difference in ensuring that our relationships are authentic, supportive, and emotionally fulfilling. 2. Polite but distant conversations. Politeness is a hallmark of mature communication. By the time we reach our 60s or 70s, most of us have mastered the art of courteous dialogue, even in situations where we may not feel entirely comfortable. However, there's a significant difference between polite conversation and genuine engagement. If someone dislikes you but doesn't want to show it outright, they may maintain a facade of politeness, but their responses may be perfunctory, lacking depth or warmth. For example, if you share a personal anecdote or talk about something meaningful in your life, and they respond with a vague, "That's nice," or quickly change the subject, it can indicate that they are not interested in connecting on a deeper level. Similarly, if their responses feel short and clipped, like they are just going through the motions of politeness without investing any emotional energy, it could be a sign of underlying discomfort or dislike. This type of polite but distant behavior can be especially noticeable when compared to how they interact with others. If you observe that the person engages more deeply with other people, asking follow-up questions, sharing personal stories, or offering meaningful advice, but with you, they seem to keep things on a superficial level, it's worth considering that their feelings toward you may not be as friendly as they appear on the surface. Moreover, the tone of the conversation may also be telling. Even when someone is being polite, their tone may carry a certain coldness or disinterest. A friendly tone is warm and open, whereas a distant tone can be formal or curt, signaling that the person is simply fulfilling a social obligation rather than genuinely enjoying the interaction. This kind of interaction can leave you feeling disconnected, or as though your presence is merely tolerated rather than welcomed. 3. Minimal physical interaction. Physical touch plays an essential role in how we communicate affection, warmth, and camaraderie. Whether it's a handshake, a hug, or even a simple pat on the back, physical gestures often serve as a bridge between people, helping to create a sense of connection. As we age, these forms of non-verbal communication can become even more important, as they often replace the words that may not be necessary in close relationships. When someone dislikes you, however, they may avoid these small but significant gestures. If you notice that someone never initiates a handshake, avoids sitting close to you, or maintains an unusual amount of physical distance during conversations, these behaviors may indicate discomfort or avoidance. People who enjoy your company will generally feel comfortable with close proximity, while those who harbor negative feelings may unconsciously create physical barriers. For example, in group settings, they might choose to sit at the opposite end of the table or position themselves, so they are physically farther from you than from others. They might also withdraw from common social gestures, such as hugs or pats on the back. And if these interactions do occur, they may feel forced or unnatural. It's also important to consider the quality of physical interaction. If someone does shake your hand, but their grip feels limp, or they quickly pull away, it could be a sign that they're engaging out of obligation rather than genuine interest. If someone does shake your hand, but their grip feels limp, or they quickly pull away, it could be a sign that they're engaging out of obligation rather than genuine interest. Similarly, if hugs feel awkward or are avoided altogether, it may suggest a reluctance to connect physically. These subtle cues in physical interaction can be telling indicators of someone's feelings toward you. The absence of warmth in physical gestures can create a sense of emotional distance, making you feel unwelcome or disconnected. It's important to recognize that these physical interactions can be critical, especially as we age, as they often convey affection and support that words alone may not express. 4. Changes in communication frequency. If you notice a sudden decline in how often someone communicates with you, it can be a sign that they are not as invested in the relationship as they once were. Initially, there may have been regular conversations, texts, or social interactions that have since tapered off. This shift may occur gradually, leading you to wonder if something has changed. If you find yourself initiating contact more frequently, only to receive delayed or curt responses, it might indicate their disinterest. In contrast, if they actively reach out to others but consistently neglect to connect with you, it can reinforce the feeling that they are trying to distance themselves. Communication is a vital part of any relationship, and a noticeable drop in frequency can signal underlying feelings. It's worth paying attention to whether this decline is accompanied by other signs, such as minimal engagement in conversations or an overall sense of detachment. Recognizing these patterns can help you understand where you stand with the person and whether it's worth addressing the situation directly. 5. Lack of support or encouragement. When someone genuinely cares for you, they often show support and encouragement during challenging times. If you find that a particular individual consistently fails to offer assistance or motivation, it could indicate a lack of genuine interest in your well-being. For instance, if you share news of a personal achievement or express concern about a problem, and they respond with indifference or minimal acknowledgement. It may suggest that they do not feel invested in your success or happiness. Additionally, if you notice they readily celebrate others' achievements while remaining dismissive of yours, this disparity can be particularly revealing. Support is a key component of any healthy relationship, and the absence of it can point to underlying feelings of dislike or resentment. 6. Body language that signals discomfort. Nonverbal communication often speaks louder than words. Body language can provide valuable insights into how someone feels about you. If you notice that the person's body language consistently appears closed off, such as crossed arms, leaning away, or avoiding facing you directly, these can be indicators of discomfort or disinterest. Conversely, open body language, like leaning in, facing you directly, and uncrossed arms, demonstrates engagement and warmth. If someone who once exhibited open body language suddenly shifts to a more closed-off posture, it may signify a change in their feelings toward you. Being mindful of these cues can help you gauge the overall dynamic of your relationship. 7. Excessive sarcasm or passive-aggressive remarks. While humor can be an essential part of relationships, excessive sarcasm or passive-aggressive comments can indicate underlying negativity. If someone frequently makes jibes or snide remarks directed at you, it may suggest that they are masking their true feelings of dislike. These remarks can create an uncomfortable atmosphere, making it challenging to communicate openly. In a healthy relationship, humor should bring people closer together rather than create division. If you find that your conversations often leave you feeling hurt or belittled rather than uplifted, it may be time to reassess the relationship. 8. Ignoring your contributions. If someone consistently overlooks or downplays your contributions in a group setting, it can indicate a lack of respect or appreciation. This behavior can manifest in various ways, such as failing to acknowledge your ideas in meetings, not giving credit for your work, or even interrupting you when you speak. When someone values you, they are likely to recognize and appreciate your input, fostering a collaborative environment. Conversely, if you notice this pattern consistently, it may reflect their underlying feelings of dislike or disdain. 9. Difficulty in maintaining a positive atmosphere. Finally, one of the most telling signs that someone dislikes you is their inability to maintain a positive atmosphere when interacting with you. If you notice that conversations often feel tense, awkward, or forced, it may suggest a disconnect between you. While not every interaction can be upbeat, a consistent pattern of negativity or discomfort can indicate deeper issues. A relationship should foster mutual joy and support, and if you find that your interactions are frequently draining or filled with tension, it may be worth reflecting on the state of that relationship. Conclusion: recognizing these 9 signs can empower you to better understand the dynamics of your relationships. While some behaviors may have alternative explanations, patterns of avoidance, disengagement, and negativity often point toward underlying feelings that are worth addressing. By being attuned to these subtle cues, you can navigate your relationships more effectively, fostering healthier interactions and emotional connections moving forward.